Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we'll be reviewing the Jones Flagship. This board is available in 151, 154, 158, 159 wide, 161, 162 wide, 164, 165 wide, 167, 169 wide, and 172. This board features Jones's directional cam rocker, which is just cam rocker with a little bit more setback in it, so you get a little bit more rocker in the nose basically. So you get camber underfoot, which is going to give you the snap and pop that you want, but you got that rocker out in the tip of the tail that's going to help with the float, ease of entry into turns, and just make it a little bit of a different ride. I rode this board at Arapahoe Basin in the early spring. The snow was creamy and it was a little bit warmer out there. There was bluebird skies. And I rode this board with my K2 Thraxis boots and my K2 Indy bindings. This board has a full directional flex, meaning softer nose, progressively stiffening up through the tail with a moderate amount of torsional flex. Overall, I'd say it's just past a middle of the road free ride flex, meaning it is a little bit stiffer. Now, they did soften this board up torsionally, which does change the actual ride of the board. And I feel like this board isn't as damp as it's been in years past. It was a little more lively. You felt a little bit more chatter. You could just really feel it reverberate anything right underfoot. It wasn't unstable by any means, but it wasn't the most damp ride. It wasn't what it was in years past. Here's the biggest change in this board: the snap and drive out of it. That camber section is easier to load up and there's more rebound out of it. You can really feel this board just pop. It's one of those boards that it's very easy to engage. You notice there's a flex point right where the camber hits the rocker zone, but then it just rebounds. This board just boosts. It's very easy to send a side hit or a cat track gap or a roller on this board. It really just wants to pop more aggressively. With this board being a little bit softer, the tips were easier to butter than in years past. Yes, it is a board that takes a little bit more effort. You're going to notice that camber section really tries to fight you when you're up on the nose or the tail, but that rocker section does create a nice sweet spot for just getting out and buttering. If you know how to butter, you're going to be fine. If you don't know how to butter, you probably want to actually look at the frontier. With this board having more torsional flex, it changes how it carves. This is a board that can really rip a deep, hard, aggressive carve, and it's very quick edge to edge. You'll notice that it rolls side to side effortlessly. It's one of those boards that before, I think it took a little bit more power to drive. This time you can be a little bit more laid back. But one thing that I did notice was that occasionally it would slip out on heel side carves, especially if I was really driving it. Overall, this board does a great job at leaving trenches. It's one of those boards that you can do tight, quick turns, long, hard, drawn out carves, or just really lay it over if you want to. Now, that issue on the heel side carve, it could just be the flex, the camber profile, the taper all combining into one. It could also be the tweak on this board. By making it more torsionally soft, you just are able to drive it a little more aggressively. So who's this board for? The Rad Dad free ride guy. So I'm going to preface my personal opinions right now by letting you guys know that I got a pre-production sample that might have been built wrong. Might have been just wickedly softer than what they're actually putting out. I talked to the rep about it. He said it was fairly close to what they were doing, so it might just be a little bit stiffer, but I will say this: the new shape of this board was much needed. This board drastically needed an overhaul, and that new shape is awesome. I feel like it being softened up makes it more beneficial for the everyman, and this was a board that I could still rip a hard carve on, really charge with when I needed to, but I could be a little more laid back than on the previous year models. Comparable boards: the K2 Manifest, the Ride Berserker, the Capita Black Snowboard of Death. This has been my review of the Jones Flagship. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you own one? Are you going to buy one? Leave me a comment down below. Let's have a conversation about this snowboard. If you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the content we've got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really want to support us and you really want to see us grow out what we're doing over here, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP. I could tell you more here, but I got a whole video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.